But he went into this life of giving everything up to follow Jesus for that everlasting life and that eternal life. Which is something that is so hard to do. It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
Let's give that up.
Last chapter.
Yep, last chapter. All right. Chapter 10, Jesus sends out the 12 disciples. Jesus called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority to drive out impure spirits and to heal every disease and sickness. These are the names of the 12 apostles. First, Simon, who is called Peter, and his brother Andrew, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew, the tax collector, James, son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. These 12 Jesus sent out with the following instructions. Do not go among the Gentiles or enter any town of the Samaritans. Go rather to the lost sheep of Israel. As you go, proclaim this message. The kingdom of heaven has come near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those who have leprosy. Drive out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. Do not get any gold or silver or copper to take with you in your belts. No bag for the journey or extra shirt or sandals or a staff, for the worker is worth his keep. Whatever town or village you enter, search there for some worthy person and stay at their house until you leave. As you enter the home, give it your greeting. If the home is deserving, let your peace rest on it. If it is not, let your peace return to you. If anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, leave that home or town and shake the dust off your feet. Truly I tell you, it will be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town. Jesus prepares the disciples for persecution. Verse 16. I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as doves. Be on your guard. You will be handed over to the local councils and be flogged in the synagogues. On my account, you will be brought before governors and kings as witness to them and to the Gentiles. But when they arrest you, do not worry about what to say or how to say it. At that time, you will be given what to say, for it will not be you speaking, but the Spirit of the Father speaking through you. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rebel against their parents and have them put to death. You will be hated by everyone because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. When you are persecuted in one place, flee to another. Truly I tell you, you will not finish going through the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. The student is not above the teacher, nor a servant above his master. It is enough for students to be like their teachers and servants like their masters. If the head of the house has been called Beelzebul, how much more the members of his household. So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the roofs. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny, yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid, you are worth more than many sparrows. Whoever acknowledges me before others, I will also acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But whoever disowns me before others, I will disown before my Father in heaven. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies will be the members of his own household. Anyone who loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Whoever does not take up their cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. Anyone who welcomes you welcomes me, and anyone who welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet as a prophet will receive a prophet's reward, and whoever welcomes a righteous person as a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. And if anyone gives you a cup of cold water to one of these little ones who is my disciple, truly I tell you, that person will certainly not lose their reward. End of chapter 10. Whew, good chapter there. Good little chappy chap. What's
stuck out to you?
First of all, Jesus telling his disciples that to expect opposition and to expect conflict while going and preaching the word, that it's not going to be easy, that it's going to be hard. It was the first thing that stuck out to me, and that you will be brought before courts and judges. But what also stuck out to me is that when you're in that position, when you're in that persecution, God's gonna, the Spirit's gonna fill you with the right words to say when you're in that moment of persecution. Like, Jesus he's not gonna get you that far and abandon you and be like, I'm out of here, you're on your own. You did all this in my will for me, I'm out of here. Like, he'll stick with you, and he'll provide you with a way to get through that, which is really cool, and that stuck out to me probably the most. But you?
A lot.
I know.
But the one that stuck out to me the most was probably similarly to that, was that God meets you where you at. Mm-hmm. Like, when you step out in faith and courage, that God's going to show up and he's going to have your back. Like, he's not going to just let you fend for the wolves by yourself. Like, he's going to be there for you. But also, I was looking at chapter 9. Where was I? When he's talked about verse 14, just like shaking off your dust from the feet when you leave that house or town. Just kind of when you're out and about, like, what do you think that means? Like, I think that means that he's saying that, like, when we go out, like, we're called to go out and we're called to go talk to people about things, but when we are going out and talking, that if they don't take the message as, like, we would hope, and they just kind of, like, shoo us and they want us to leave and all that, that we go, like, Paul did this in Acts a lot too, is like, you go town to town, and then if they weren't, like, taking in what he was teaching, he would just move on to the next. Like, you can't sit there and debate a person to believe in God. Mm-hmm. You can only plant the seed and just wait for God to water it.
Yeah, and shake it off your feet. Don't let it keep going with you. Like, oh, why couldn't I do that? Like,
yeah,
why couldn't I save that person? Why couldn't this? It's just shake it off. They're not gonna listen to your words. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Like, go on to the next and try and get more people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Try and see if the next town will listen to your words.
Yep.
But yeah, and then also when he goes on to that, the next verse 15, truly I tell you, it will be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town. And we had talked about this in our little study beforehand, but so if you don't know, Sodom and Gomorrah was this place just overfilled with sin, these cities, and overfilled with sin in the Old Testament, and God had went and destroyed those cities. And so he's saying that on the day of judgment, it's going to be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah because this town has heard the words. They've had that opportunity to hear the words of Jesus and hear the truth and all that, where Sodom and Gomorrah didn't have that chance, those cities. But these cities did have that chance. And so they took it in, and they didn't listen. So it'll be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah as people in these cities that didn't even have the chance to have Jesus come down and to teach them all this.
just the authority that and the responsibility that those who are called that have, and everyone who is called are followers, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Because we know his name. We're the sheep. We know our shepherd's name, which is Jesus, which is God, and we're called. And with Jesus, we have that authority. We have that to heal and cast out demons with faith.
Yeah, and going back to Romans 8:11, the same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead lives inside of us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then another thing too, the persecution that will come and how it will separate families. 'Cause I know in my personal life that has things like that happen, and even friendships and stuff, where the cost of following God creates division in so many areas, and that it causes separation between friends and family and brothers and sisters. We've mentioned this before, and it just kind of goes to show of the cost of following God, but then also the commitment required to follow God is that, are you committed enough to lose family members? Are you committed enough to lose close friends? Are you committed enough to lose these things because of what God teaches and what God says? And that's what I think weeds people out too. Not that I hope people don't get weeded out, but it's like you have to sacrifice a lot to follow God, because it's a whole change of life, and it goes against everything we are taught and everything of this world, and all of our desires that we have. It goes against those things, and it will come, and inevitably, like in your workspace, your friend circle, your family, like it comes, and you get viewed differently, and you like Jesus was saying, when you go to town and just wipe off that dust, you can't let that discourage you either, because you know what's true, and not everyone's going to receive it the way you hope. You can only just pray for them. But
yeah, that's great. Something else I wanted to look at too is going with that, how hard it is, the cost. There is a cost to following Jesus, and he says in verse 39, whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. So you have to die to those selfish desires. You have to those fleshly selfish desires, like those have to die. Like that's what he's talking about. And so that's choosing forgiveness over bitterness. That's choosing generosity over greed. That's speaking the truth when staying silent is probably the easier thing to do. That's being bold. That's doing things that are outside of your comfort zone that are for Jesus. Like those daily little fleshly desired deaths that lead to everlasting life. And that's something that you can take just in your daily life when you're walking through work and you're just kind of thinking, oh, I'm just at work, like whatever. But you can invite Jesus into that time with you, and that's going to help you to kill those fleshly desires. Because if you're always going back to, oh, Jesus is right by me, he's right with me, like I'll go to him. I'll go to him for the answer. I'll go to him, instead of, looking at life from Jesus's perspective, where it's like, if someone wrongs you, take a second and choose forgiveness. Or if you're thinking like these greedy thoughts, like take a second and be like, oh, like maybe I should be more generous and like give money instead of just always trying to work for more money. I don't know. I think that's just so important in your life to do.
Yeah, another thing too is the having no fear for people, because at the end of the day, who do you fear more? 28, and do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Like, who do you fear more? Do you fear what God views and thinks, or do you fear more of what people think? Like when it comes to how you live your life, or what you say, or in that moment how you stick up, do you fear fear more what God has to say and what he thinks versus people. Because I think when you think about that, of like, do I fear God more or do I fear people? Because people can't kill my soul.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, God can kill. He gives and takes away, okay? And he has total control and total authority over everything. At the end of the day, like Luke, he can't harm me eternally. He can't, like, I really, like, no offense, but I don't care what you think about things. I care more about, like, I love you and all. But, like, if something happened and we were veering paths and, like, I care more about what God says about our lives and how he says that we should live it and how he, versus, like, say you don't agree with us preaching the word and that everyone can have their own way or something. Like, I really don't care that you think that because, like, I respect it, but I care more about God, what he thinks, because he's God. Like, I fear God more than I do man.
Yeah.
And you kind of, like, going out through your life, too. I don't know if I said that really well. That might have came off really bad, but like, going off in your life and making decisions is, like, it's a good thing to ask yourself is, like, do I fear man or do I fear God? And, like, sticking up for something, do I fear man or do I fear God?
Yeah.
And, like, when it comes to politics even, or certain jobs, or people you hang out with, or things you do, like, do you fear God or do you fear man more?
Yeah, because, I mean, a man can go up and shoot you in the face, and they took away your life. But but they can't take away the fact that you had a solid foundation and a relationship with Jesus. Now you're in heaven living eternal life. Like, he can't take that away from you.
Yep.
It's just a good way to sum it up there, because there's
yeah.
That's the worst thing a man can do to you is take your life on earth, and
then
they can't take away your eternity in heaven.
There's one more thing.
I would do verse 32 if you're gonna talk about anything. Through 33.
32.
Yeah, whoever acknowledges me before others, I will also acknowledge before my Father in heaven.
About that.
But whoever disowns me before others, I will disown before my Father in heaven. That's very important, because I know there's situations for me too. It's like people talk badly about Jesus or Christianity, and just being there and being silent, you feel so bad. And it's like you need to be proud of your faith and proud of having Jesus in your life and your heavenly Father and what he's done for you. And it's like you should be proclaiming that and be loud about it. It's not a quiet thing that you just sit there and let people talk negatively about Jesus. And doing that, it's like when you get to heaven, you want Jesus to accept you because you were out praising his name and praising him, and not sitting in a corner or disowning him and being like, oh yeah, like, no, I don't, like, I don't talk about that stuff. I don't do that. It's like, no, be proud, be loud about Jesus.
I think it also talks about, it's a good thing to think about the fruit too of our lives is, do we proclaim and, where's the verse again? 32. Yeah, if you acknowledge him with the way you live your life. Also, like, do you live it out? Do you, the words, yeah, definitely, is if people ask you, are you a man of God? And you're going to say, yeah. And then also, like, are you living it out too? Like, are you denying him by what you do and how you live your life? Like, are you a Christian? Like I say, like, someone can ask you, are you a Christian? You're like, yeah, I believe in God. But then you go and you completely do the opposite thing and you're just denying him that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's very good. But and then there's also the thing of like, like when you are, like, there's going to be a time where you are going to be persecuted, where it might be a matter of, if you're a Christian, you might go to prison, or if you declare that you're a Christian, you might be killed. I mean, that literally happened to the disciples. So, like, at that point, I mean, that's the most extreme, and that's what you need. That's the faith that you need to have, because that time might come, and that's where, like, if you disown Jesus there, it's like, all right, like, you got that. And that's the thing too, is also giving up your life for Jesus. You got to understand that, like, that this life is Jesus's. So if they want to take it away for your faith in Jesus, let them. They can't. And it goes to that thing that we were talking about earlier. They can't take away your eternity with him. So.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about verse 8. Heal the sick, raise the dead, clean the leopard, cast out demons. You received without paying, give without pay. Another thing with heart posture, and kind of what we talked about a few chapters earlier about like giving, like we were talking about giving earlier. Just live your life, and like you should have that heart posture of that you don't, like, you give without receiving. Like, I'm just reiterating the verse here, but excuse me. But like a lot of people, I've done this before, where you go and you go to for show. You go give to show, and you give and you expect something back. It's like, why'd you give then?
Mm-hmm.
Or and yeah, I don't know where I was going to go with that.
Also that speaks to, that was a good point. If like you freely received like so many blessings from God.
Oh,
why,
yeah, that is,
like
yeah.
why do you expect anything? Why don't you go and freely give to other people
That
and give
is
them like
exactly what I was trying to
God's
bring
freely
up.
given you grace. Go give other people grace, and God's freely given you blessings. Bless other people.
Yes.
If God's provided you with a lot of wealth and stuff, it's like that's not yours. That's God's money. God gave that to you. Freely give it, and don't feel like in it. And don't do it in a sense of like, oh, like I'm gonna do this because I have all this money and I want everyone to do it. It's like it goes back to the doing it in secret. Just go out and give secretly, and don't boast about it and be like, oh, I gave this much and that much. It's like, just do it because again, to your heart posture. Do it because you want to give. Do it because
God gave us freedom from our sins for free. Like, we didn't have to do anything to earn it. Like, God just gave it to us. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for saving that.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes to also like freely forgive people because you've been forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
That can go for everything. I do think it is cool that God does give his followers that authority to be able to heal people and do that through him. Like, I think that's so cool.
Yeah. I talked about it in our study the other night, but I wanted to talk. I think it might have been that of where if you go to Acts chapter 19, it's kind of part of my testimony. In Acts chapter 19, verse 15, I think it is. Just about like the authority, but then also like not having a true, genuine relationship with God. I don't know why I talked about that before, but it had to do with some verse, but just how, like, even the demons, like, they know Jesus and he knows Paul, but who are you? And it's like, it's the importance of knowing the gospel and being in the word, and then also having a relationship with God, is because otherwise, if you're doing it out of your own, because they were the sons of Shiva, I think, or the Skiva, or however you pronounce that. They were trying to like proclaim things and like use magic to like. They just thought that Jesus' name was like magic, and they didn't actually have a true relationship. And they were doing it more for show, of being like, oh, look what I can do. I can cast out demons because I know this and that. And it's like, this goes back to previous chapters and this just came to me now, but of how the genuine relationship with God is so important. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about, cover? Like,
no, not
any
really.
reflecting questions we want to have for? One thing is in your life, what is holding, if there is anything, what is holding you back from actually being a true disciple and fully giving full control to God, like where in your life could you let go of things and break things down? And then also just think about what would that look like in your life? Like, if you fully like trusted and had that faith and had that obedience with God, like what would that look like in your life?
Freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Getting those chains broken.
Like
Weight.
that true cost, that true challenge, and the rewards of discipleships. Like, what does that look like for you in your life?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, so that is just kind of the wrap up of 9 through 10. We got 11 through 15 next. But I'm going to reinstate this question. We might be fine, but I'm going to restate it anyways. Where in your life are some things that you kind of have at the top of your priority list, or some anxieties and fears that you have, and how can you let those go? And whether are those anxieties and fears from God, or is it more of a warning, or is it more of just straight up fear? And then also, for being a true disciple in God, what would that look like in your life? Are there areas that you need to let go of and surrender to God, or are there areas that you need to step out in faith? So think about that in your life and your walk with God, and what it would look like for you to step out in those areas or to surrender those things and recognize the true cost and blessings that come to being a full-on disciple. But we're looking forward to next week. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please read chapter 11 through 15, just because it's good to know, and there's a lot of good stuff coming up. So, yeah. Anything you want to add, Westfield?
No, yeah, just appreciate you guys all tuning in, and yeah, we're almost to our 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty crazy. So
That is actually insane.
shout out you guys
Thank you for that.
all your support and everything. And
Shout out to God. He's doing some crazy work right now. Hopefully, hopefully this podcast is being blessed, and that you guys are.
Yeah, and if you're following along, I mean, we encourage everyone to go and get their own Bible.